Odd Musings with, what's the name?
Scott and Brent.
You heard him.
All right.
I'm
Thanks,
D.
Steve.
Snyder.
Hey, welcome to Odd Musings, episode 169. I clicked the wrong video at first, so I had to double click the other one real fast.
That's okay.
I was going, oh no, that's the old one. We don't want that one. We want the
We
new
will
D.
have to cut
Snyder
your
intro.
pay in half for that error.
Oh darn. Half of zero is I still ain't getting squat.
That's right. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, I think Scott, I've talked about this a few times. You know, we've both been so busy with everything. We haven't talked a whole lot. We text a lot on the messenger service through Facebook, especially about the stuff like Scott's been cranking away at the new Wretched Realms. Yeah, real excited about that. I read through it. I want to read through it again, and you'll know about that outside of that. I think it looked really great. And I don't want to talk about it here because I don't want to spoil it, so people can actually buy the comic and enjoy it and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing that. It's meant to be, you know, some projects you want to pour yourself into and make it like your Lord of the Rings, your epic series. And that's kind of what Crimson Shadows is for me, where I really want like it to be amazing. Mm-hmm. Wretched Realms, I want to also be amazing, but it's more about the fun, and I'm trying to keep a fast pace to allow that flow to just get injected into it. You know what I mean? So less polished, but more fun, more action, less story. But there's still, I feel like I got a good amount of story for it being a single issue story. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, it was really good. And I'm looking to see the finished product because you just sent us kind of a rough of it. Yeah. And definitely going to be really cool.
And now it's September 2nd. I'm so excited. We're getting the boys together in Indiana this weekend. And we are going to be, I got a ton of Crimson Shadows issue 1 in stock and all the rewards and everything. We're going to be signing those things, getting them prepped. And then next week I will actually begin shipping rewards. So I'm really excited. Hello, Kevin. Kevin's chiming in there. So that's good.
Yeah.
But, and also we get to see each other so little now. I'm just so excited to see Kevin and his family catch up with Brett and Connie. I see them a little bit more, but not much more because it's so busy right now. Just all of us trying to maintain our lives in this COVID world.
Yeah, it's been crazy. We had confirmation that Akron was canceled for us. They're doing a one day event, and I haven't confirmed for that. I just kind of one of those things that's like, I think we'll just hold off till next year now.
Say that again.
And
what was that?
They're going to do a 1 day event, and it's going to be very minimal, no guests. I think maybe 10 or 15 vendors.
Oh.
I think I wish them luck on that. And I thought about it, and I was like, okay, I'd have to drive out on Friday.
Yeah. How far of a drive is it for you?
It's about 3.5 hours. So.
Yeah, so that's a 4.5 hours. So 9-hour round trip for me.
Yeah, and it'd be 2 days still a hotel and stuff like that, and there's no guarantee that even then the people would show up to make it worthwhile. But it's one of the things I still want to support them. I think it's going to be more supporting them from a distance and just help promote it a little bit. Yeah. Allow more of the local people there to kind of set up, which is what I think they're looking for most. They're not looking for any of us to travel out there. And that. But, you know, I was really glad Dan and his partners for Akron Comic-Con, they looked at all options. They really tried, and it's a shame that they couldn't pull this off like anything this year, but who knows? But before we get into everything today, because we got a lot of fun topics to talk about, we better knock out some ad reads here. And I'm going to start us off real quick with Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC. Now, I talk about them quite a bit, of course. They're our longest sponsor. They've been with us pretty much since day one. And I got to tell you, I had bought some new shoes recently, and I finally wore them. I had them for a few months, and it's like, okay, I'll finally wear these and wear out the other ones. And problem is these shoes really weren't good for my feet, and I definitely had messed up my left foot a little bit. And when I went in yesterday, I'd switched shoes back to different ones, and I'm going to be getting some other ones here shortly. But you know, it's one thing going in there, regardless of what issues you have going on. I love the fact that chiropractic, and it's not just Loringer, but chiropractic in general, they try to target the actual problem and not treat symptoms. So they're not going in there saying I'm having pain. Here's some pain pills. They're saying, okay, let's figure out where the pain comes from. And she showed like, okay, so we know it was with the shoe on the left foot causing problem on the heel, and it threw off. And she showed me on a diagram the chart where it's on the left hip and this muscle that pulls here into the hip bone and all that stuff. So that kind of showed how some of that was causing some of the problems I had over the weekend. And then she was able to adjust and fix things, get back in control, and allow my body to start fully healing itself. Yeah. And that's what Lawrence Family Chiropractic Center does, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. They do all this stuff. They have massage therapy, orthotics by foot levels, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, all in a family-oriented environment. You can give them a call, 734-697-4244. Visit them online here. This is their online right here, and you can see Dr. Anna, Dr. Brian right there, our main two doctors. And this is some of the services: chiropractic care, spinal adjustments, massage therapy, x-rays, all kinds of stuff. Even testimonials from different patients. And there's a map to find whichever one you need to go to. So definitely check out LawrenceFamilyChiropractic.com. There's a link at Odd Musings for you guys. So it's an easy one there. And if you have any questions, like I said, hit them up. They'll answer any questions for you. They're really good about that. But we have another great sponsor in Teen Titans of Real Estate.
That's right. Why? Because you matter. Relationships are our number one priority. And here you're seeing our website up there. TeamTitansOfRealEstate.com is where you go. Or you can give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my cell phone number. But if you go to the website and just scroll down, there's a link there to contact us. You can see our different social media pages on there. You can sign in and create your own searches and search the MLS yourself. So there's a lot of great stuff there. If you go to the contact us page here, you will see our phone numbers listed and things like that. So there you have it. Use us. It's it's free to call us. It charges you nothing, but you get good advice. I have a market analysis to do after this show today. I'm excited to go out and do that. You got to arm yourself with information first and foremost before you can really make informed decisions on what direction you want to go. Real estate is probably going to be one of your largest financial decisions in your life. So you want to make it right. So once again, 586-549-6096. All
Very
right.
cool. We talk a lot about, what's been going on with us being locked down and COVID and that. One of the things I got to say is I've been actually blessed this year with the fact that I could continue to work and do well. And I've been trying to do different things with help out some of our friends that, some are doing well, just fine too, but they're all trying to still continue their income within the art and everything else. And sometimes they offer different weird things. I just got this hat from Jay Brandt. It's a Pixar hat. He's got the little thing there, and he had a few of these that he sold as him and his brother had done something with Pixar, so they sold that. So I got me an official. I don't know if it's how official it is, but it's a Pixar hat. I thought it was pretty cool. And
Very
then
nice.
Another friend of ours, and Scott knows it too, is Heather Creeder, and I'm going to do the opening. It's a clear bag, so I don't want to show it right. But she was supposed to be at Gen Con this year, and she invested several $1,000s to create a new plush of one of her demon toys and that, and with the show canceled, that's a lot of money. So she offered them online, and I wanted to help out. So I got me a new pal.
She does such a great job with her characters, and
you can see the dice because it's Gen Con games.
Yeah.
So
that's perfect.
I think this is one. I've got several of hers. So I always try to support my pals, my friends as best I can with this stuff. And it's got a little wire in here too to adjust the wings. And I think this is probably one of the best ones she's had done.
Oh yeah,
I love the design on it.
That could be available in any store with that quality that she put into it.
In some ways, I think this is even better.
Oh yeah,
so really cool stuff. So you can find Jay Brandt online at Heads Up Studios. He's a friend of the show, been on the show. Heather Creeder, her Shaman Soul Studios is online. They have all kinds of different cool stuff. Jay's always doing stuff with his decals or vinyls. He has different vinyl stuff coming out all the time, so you can definitely watch for that. And then I did also another thing. I thought this was cool. Another friend and former guest of the show, Jeff Sornig, did this up. So he did it as a sticker and then a really cool pen. So I was like, I gotta have that. because 2020 really doesn't fully suck. It really kind of sucked.
That globe makes me think of Schoolhouse Rock.
That's why I got it too. I was like, it's a Schoolhouse Rock one.
Yeah,
they should do like a 3-minute Schoolhouse Rock 2020 sucks. So it's just some cool stuff on that. And we've had a lot of our pals support us through our Kickstarters for Crimson Shadows, Paul Macabre, and stuff like that. So it's good to kind of share.
Issue here in the room, but I just got I supported a Kickstarter called The Crude Knight. The book came in this last week. It looks phenomenal. It's issue 4, so this was my first time supporting that series. So I got the reward where I got the they did a mega size issue that has issues 1 through 3 all in one book. So I got that as well, and I'm reading the story now. But it's like this post-apocalyptic story where they're fighting over oil. And stuff. So that's the crude oil.
Okay.
It's really cool, but they did a great job with the artwork. And what I'm reading so far, I'm really enjoying the story on that. So next week I'll try to remember to bring it in the office so I can actually hold it up and show people. But they fulfilled their orders very quickly and hit their deadlines. And, I just supported that last month and I already have the book in hand. So it's nice when you do that instead of when you support a project and like 3 years later, you're like, I don't even remember. What is this?
Yeah, I'm on one. They sent an update several months ago and I'm still waiting. It's been 6 years and they keep saying, oh, it's coming. Yep. It's coming.
I have some like that too, that I supported and I've just given up on them.
Yeah, I figure if it shows up, it shows up, and some of them are people I still see at Comic-Con. Yep. So,
but this is also why we at Bardstone we don't like Wretched Realms. I could technically probably run it right now based upon how much I have done, but I'm not comfortable running them unless I know I'm at least 80% done, and I am going to have product within a month or two after the Kickstarter is done. So, it's too long to go out. It's too many variables. The farther out you go, the more variables that could mess everything up. So when we run our Kickstarters, it's going to be fulfilled.
Yeah, it's worth the investment of your time and money now to pretty much get it almost done to where the Kickstarter really it becomes more of a pre-order. Yeah. I know I've been looking at some, and then when they say, I said, "Oh, this looks really cool," and they're going, "Well, we should have it in about 18 months once we get the money so we can pay all these people." And while we're talking a little Bill and Ted a little bit later, it kind of reminds me of Bill and Ted. It's like, dude, we need to learn how to play guitars. We got to get Eddie Van Halen, but then we got to learn how to play. So it's like this big loop thing. It's like, okay, that's why you're not getting anything done. Is you're too worried about trying to get Eddie Van Halen, so actually just doing it. So
right. But. Yeah, and there is a danger to if you run a Kickstarter, a successful Kickstarter, and you make a lot of money on it, and you don't come through. You're gonna have a lot of angry people that will never support you again. So, when our Kickstarters, they're going to be fulfilled. Crimson Shadows, Poe Macabre Master got all fulfilled, all on time. Yep. Crimson Shadows, the product is all in now, issue 1, and we'll be doing our signings this weekend, and then we'll be shipping stuff out next week. So that's on its way.
That's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to this weekend so we can do all that, hang out, and get some more Bardstone ideas going. Because I'm bringing the script for the story I'm doing for Paul Macabre 2.
Sweet.
And finalizing that, and I'll have that ready so I can go over with you guys. And I think it was fun. I really was excited that Kevin Paul Macabre and I hope you guys like it. So
I'm sure we will.
Too much
and Paul Macabre 2 is coming along nice. Yeah, issue 2 of that's coming along nice. Issue 2 of Crimson Shadows. Travis has turned in the first 4 pages of pencils that look phenomenal. Mm-hmm. All the layouts are done through page 14. I got to get back on layouts so I can finish it out for him. But it's written fully. So we'll be moving forward on that. Travis, J. Travis Smith, our penciler, he has a great series idea that I'm working on with him. He's got the concept. I'm going to do the writing for him. So next week, I think I'll be writing the issue for him. Okay. And then he'll start working on that as well after he finishes issue 2 of Crimson Shadow. So we've got stuff in the pipeline for Bardstone. So, stay tuned. You can follow us on Facebook at Bardstone Publishing. We have a lot of exciting stuff. Then Brett's got his books as well that we're going to be putting out there. I've got some other things, what do you call them? Sticks in the fire, pokes in the fire. Yeah. That I'm hoping
irons in the fire.
Irons in the fire. That's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I got some other things. I'm talking to some other people that I'm hoping will be able to bring onto Bardstone as well. So stay tuned. It's exciting. As long as the giant asteroid doesn't wipe us out in November, we're good.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Is like even with I talked to Scott last week after the show within his Wretched Realms being an anthology series, my Socrates Papadopoulos Outlaw Gunslinger. I did 2 short stories. I'm going to start writing a new 12-page story. It's going to become a full issue.
Yep.
And I thought about doing that before anyway. So this is going to kind of come through the Bardstone. So we're going to revisit that story I have, finish up my Scabs 5. And 2021 is going to be a great launch year.
I am so excited to get back to conventions. I have an energy like I've never had, other than maybe like my first year when you're first doing conventions. Because
I can attest to that because I saw Scott here.
You know?
Yeah, I can tell. I said this because 18 months ago, Scott was like, "I'm done. Screw this. Screw you. I'm out." You know, and all of a sudden, an idea came and it sparked, and then the flames started being lit, and we all just we did that. Next thing you know, we're all on fire, getting this thing going, and really excited for the direction. It's this is exactly what I've been wanting to do within comics and publishing for the last
COVID
16 years.
A blessing in disguise. It really was, because with Comic-Cons, you're in this trap of you're doing show after show after show. You have things you want to do, but you're spending so much time on the road, you're not getting those things done. And you got this dynamic. When you do self-published work, the hard part about it is you don't get paid till months later. All your time and money is spent now, but you don't recoup your costs for years sometimes.
Yeah.
And so you're constantly having to put your projects on the back burner and do the things that make money today. Problem is, the things that make money today don't satisfy you creatively, doing fan art or whatever. And you're doing other people's projects. You're not getting your things done. COVID wiped all that out. There was no more money today. So it allowed all of us, and we're seeing it with Rodney Fike and Sean Forney and other friends of ours. They're able to now, we were all able to step back and say, okay, we can finally work on our stuff. And I'm seeing so much great stuff come out. And so I'm really, really excited for next year's Comic-Cons.
Yeah, I am too. And it's, I just cannot believe it's this year already in September. And, it brought a lot out. And I haven't done as much as some people have because I haven't had a chance to. Too. Yeah, and that's part of the thing. Since I've been working my butt off, and I was, I've talked about this before. When I started doing Shipped, it was out of necessity because Comic-Cons had hurt me financially and it was my fault, 100%. I take full responsibility for trying to. I got caught up in the quicksand of it, as I call it, and stolen from the movie The Replacements with Gene Hackman. And but I looked at something this morning because I was just going over for September 1st. I'm going over, or in second, I go over my financials real quick every month just to see and realizing that this year alone I was able to knock my credit card debt in half.
Awesome.
So far.
That's great.
And I'm on track that if things can continue the way it is, I'm hoping to go into next year and getting ready to where I can not have that debt still looming there. So everything I'm doing is just getting more and more into being financially free, but also allowing me to continue with the journey we're doing with Bardstone and the creative journey. And it's freeing that back up and bringing back the excitement. So,
and not only is it freeing up like time and money for you, because I was in the same boat, and real estate saved me on that, was the mental freeness you get. That debt that you incur, when you're living life as a professional artist, it is not easy. And there's a reason why they have the phrase starving artist. And, we invest big money and time to do shows, to go out to see the fans. A lot of people don't realize that. They think it's just we show up and somehow it's all paid for by other people. We all are self-financed. There's only a very small selection of people who are actual paid guests. That's a very small, like 1% of the show floor. The vast majority of us are paying for our airline tickets, our shipping of our product, the printing of our product, the hotel rooms, the gas to get there, you put it all in. You easily have $1,500 invested in a medium-sized show. So that's a lot of artwork you have to sell just to break even. So it and with the way the business model has been changing over the last few years at shows, people, we adapt. We adapted to what was working, for the last 5 to 10 years. A certain business model worked, and all of us adapted to that business model. But then it shifted, and the problem became we were all set up for the old business model, and we weren't really set up for the new business model. And I think Kickstarter and COVID combined have kind of allowed us to do that hard shift, like say, okay, we can now push the old model out and bring the new model in. Yeah. And I feel like we've done that.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about it I was looking back 3 years ago, you and I were just both getting ready to make these. You were jumping back into real estate. I was looking to find something. I got lucky and found Shipped, and was able to continue from there. But yeah, 3 years ago now, we both just got back from Minnesota about a week or two ago, and
that's where we're like, this isn't working.
Yeah, we just lost major money that we didn't have, and
everyone lost major money at that show.
Yeah, so it changed it up, and I think that with no Comic-Cons pretty much this year, except for a couple at the beginning. Hopefully some of these ones that shouldn't be around will go away. We'll quit bogging down the market, and the fans will realize that, you've got to come out and not just pay your entrance fee at 20 shows a year. You got to come out and select them, and you got to supporting everybody there. Not just the artists, the vendors, right, and not just the celebrities. I mean, it's kind of a mix. You got to learn to spread your money around.
But also we as artists, we have to shift our mindset. At least for me, a Comic-Con is no longer a profit center. That's not where I go to make my money. Kickstarter is the profit center. Comic-Cons is our marketing cost. It's our expense of getting out in front of fans, meeting people, collecting your data for emails and everything else, so we can let you know when our next Kickstarter is, or you sign up on our page to follow us. That's where the money is Kickstarters are us reaching out to you and meeting you, so you know who we are, the names and faces behind the scenes, and then you sign up for those future projects. So when we do our next Kickstarter, if we have 3,000 followers on a Kickstarter, we're going to be successful, and we're going to make enough money to put quality time and money, pay quality artists to be part of it. We're going to be able to pay for quality printing, quality shipping materials. All these things are expensive. Like my last Kickstarter, a lot of people don't realize too. They look at it and they say, "Oh, you made $3,500 on that Kickstarter. That's a lot of money." It's not. I went really cheap in, like, we got Brett and Kevin who helped out by volunteering time. I'm going to pay them back in other ways. That doesn't sound right.
He's going to send Vinny over with the bag, and it's not going to be Vinny from T-24. It's going to be another Vinny.
I'm going to pay him through product is what it is. Through the comics that I printed, I'm going to give them a excess amount so they could sell. But out of pocket for me, I spent $7,000, and I still have to pay for shipping everything out to everybody. So when it's all said and done, I'm going to have a good amount of money. So you subtract that $3,500 I made, I still put out probably $4,500 worth out of pocket between paying artists and doing other things. So it's a lot of money to get a product made and into your hands. So it takes a lot, and we need support to do that.
Yep, definitely. So moving on, because we're going to run out of time if we don't watch it.
I know. It's already a great episode.
I know.
But there's so much going on. We actually have, for the first time since COVID started, there's actually some pop culture, movie releases. What is this? Oh, and we have some new shows to talk about. So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's talk a little bit about because we're not going to get too much into it. Let's talk a little bit about this. Let me bring it up here. A little Cobra Kai launched last week on Netflix. It had been on YouTube Red for 2 years, and Netflix has acquired it, and it will be getting a third season next year. Scott, you've watched the first episode, right?
I've watched the first, correct. Yep.
And what was your thoughts of the first episode?
I really liked the first episode. Let me see here. I'm sharing an article too. If you want to put it up, you don't have to. It just talks about how Netflix is taking Cobra Kai from obscure hit to #1 show in America, which is really interesting. And we'll get into this a little bit too. So this came out through YouTube Red. And there were the first 2 seasons were through YouTube Red, which is YouTube's subscription service, their paid streaming service. And a decent number of people saw it, but it wasn't huge. They did not renew it. Season 3 got picked up by Netflix. So now Netflix has season 1, 2, and 3 online or on through their streaming, and it's #1 in America. It just skyrocketed. So I was able to watch episode 1. Absolutely love it. I love the angle that it's going. I like part of it's nostalgia, but it's nice to revisit these characters and say, where are they now? And I really like the angle they took for where Danielson is versus
Daniel LaRusso, and then Lawrence here, as seen in the picture there with Hawk and Miguel next to him. His 2 of his students, it's such an interesting take. I think my favorite part of the whole thing within the characters themselves of Johnny and Daniel is Johnny is still very 80s. He has not changed a bit. Yeah. Even Kevin says Cobra Kai is fantastic. I know him and Brandy have been watching that. I got to tell you, I love the fact that
you've watched all 3 seasons.
All 2, because only 3 hasn't come out yet. That'll be next year.
3 hasn't come out yet. Okay.
Yeah, so I watched all 20 episodes that got out now, and I would watch it again. It was that good. And what I love though is he's just straight up. He's the 80s guy that, when his life fell apart from the Karate Kid 1 movie into Karate Kid 2, because we see at the beginning of Karate Kid 2 him getting beat up by Kreese. And then so it's like, what happened to Johnny after that? Because when they did Karate Kid 3, Kreese has brought in a different guy to train Daniel. Daniel went over to Cobra Kai, and then turns out it was all a setup, and they were just looking to destroy Miyagi-Do and Daniel LaRusso. And that was all Kreese. But it's like, what happened to Johnny Lawrence? Well, we now learn that in that first episode that his life has not gone well. He's kind of floated around a little bit. He got married, divorced, has a kid. And and things are just not. I mean, he's sitting there drinking Coors Banquets like it's bottles of water.
Yeah. One thing we do learn though is Johnny has good taste in music.
Yes.
Every time he gets in his car, it's a song I like. So
and it's funny watching this. I'm like, man, this is falling into everything I've been doing the last couple months. I've been really hitting a lot of 80s nostalgia films and movies, even some obscure. Man, this is just. I kind of. It's not that I completely, but I can understand him a little more, having been on, been from the 80s, as well as the fact that I'm watching this going, the music's still great, still listen all the time. The movies he's referencing are still great. And
the other thing I find interesting about this show, and I want you to get into this because you mentioned it off air, is at least from watching episode 1, you'll if it continues down this path, but you really identify with Johnny more. Danny's kind of a jerk. He's kind of arrogant and this goes to Johnny, I think.
Yeah, this goes back to an episode from 2009 of How I Met Your Mother. The character of Barney Stinson was referencing one of his favorite movie was The Karate Kid, and let me see. I think I got the quote here. Let me see if I got the quote here. Here it is. Let me pull it up here because this is great. He goes. He's like, it's a story of a hopeful young karate enthusiast whose dreams and moxie take him all the way to the All Valley Karate Championship. Of course, sadly, he loses in the final round to that nerd kid, but he learns an important lesson about gracefully accepting defeat. And then, of course, he gets questioned, like, you rooted for the mean blonde boy? He goes, and of course, sarcastically, like, no, I root for the scrawny loser from New Jersey who barely even knows karate. So it was a great quote. And actually, I'm pretty sure from that quote, that's what launched. I mean, what's his name that plays Johnny Lawrence? He was on How I Met Your Mother several times, which as himself. So nice. It was in that stuff. And so they reference that quite a bit.
We've seen Johnny and Danielson, Ralph Macchio, and I'm sorry, what's the actor who plays Johnny?
I'm blanking right now.
Anyways, we've seen both of them and the Cobra Kai instructor. We've seen them at tons of Comic-Cons over the years. Yeah, it is nice though that this show being on Netflix now, I think we're going to see a lot more fans showing up to see them and meet them, and that's really cool. But you mentioned how like this How You Met Your Mother, they tell this story that kind of twists everything on its head, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, yeah. I think Danielson is the bad guy. He comes in, fakes his girl, and
this is a little bit of a spoiler. There's an episode that you see Johnny Lawrence, played by William Zabka. I pulled it up real quick. I knew his name, but I had to think about it a second. And then Marty Cove is John Kreese. John Kreese is the original Cobra Kai founder, and Johnny Lawrence's sensei. But Johnny, he has this whole episode where he's telling people, it's like, no, this is what happened. He explains, out of nowhere, this kid comes out of nowhere from New Jersey, and he attacks him at the beach. He attacks him here. He brings this old karate master around, and he goes, I was in the bathroom, and he dumps water on me. And I mean, and when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, yeah, Johnny Lawrence was kind of a jerk, but he was that kind of jerk, but Lawrence kind of antagonized him the whole time, and then thought he was going to fight him and take him on, and it was like, no, man.
And in episode 1, I like how they point out, like, they have that, Danielson is like, oh, guys, come meet this guy I know. Look at him. And they're like, oh, this is the guy whose butt you kicked. Yeah, you kicked his butt. Well, I didn't kick his butt. I kicked his face. Yeah. It's like, really? And then I like Johnny's answer. He goes, it was illegal.
It was an illegal kick.
If you go back, because they replay the fight, Johnny didn't do anything illegal in the fight. Sweeping the leg wasn't illegal.
No.
Everything he did was legal moves. He didn't get any point deductions or anything, Yeah. So
I think Barney Stinson had it right.
Actually, he did get a warning. I think he got a warning. But anyways,
Johnny Lawrence was robbed. And Daniel Lewis was kind of a jerk. And when you see this stuff, it's I love watching, because you're seeing this journey between these two guys, and then their kids are involved, and other kids, and seeing what's going on, and you can see how much that LaRussa and he did. I think that it's a shame that Pat Morita passed away when he did. He's definitely older, and I'd love to have seen someone him come. They reference him quite a bit through this, which is great. But to have it could have had him come in and be like, oh, sorry, Daniel son, this is not, you're kind of being a jerk now, running your multi-million-dollar dealerships.
Yell at him for prostituting the bonsai tree.
Right.
Everybody gets a free bonsai tree.
He's got very cheesy and everything else.
He completely capitalized on Burrito's teachings.
Yeah. And I did like the cast race. They got the girl who plays a woman who plays his Lewis's wife. She played Missy on Big Bang Theory. That was Sheldon's sister. Yep. She's really good, and then the daughter is really good too. The son cracks me up though. LaRussa's son. You see these people. Hey, we're all fit. Here's the son, and he's like, "Where'd they get Mini Jack Black?" So nice. And that's funny on that. But I really like Cobra Kai. I highly recommend it. It's one of those series that I can definitely see. I'll probably zip through it again when season 3 is about to come out. Yeah. Just get to, because when you're watching it, binging like this, there's so much story within this, and you're really seeing the journey. It really is the journey. It is Johnny Lawrence's story. It's about his journey and what he's dealing with from the past. He's accepting the past now, as well as working towards the future.
I hope they don't make the mistake of the Rocky Apollo movies. Apollo 2, we get Dolph Lundgren in it. And what do we want as fans? We don't care about Apollo's son. We want to see Dolph Lundgren versus Rocky again. And they didn't give it to us. We got to see Daniel versus Johnny. We got to get it.
You say that, and again, since I already said spoiler, I can say what I want now. They reference Rocky 3 in the fight at the end.
Yeah, but we need the return fight now. We got to get the street fight to see who really would win, because it's Johnny. It's not going to be Danny. Daniel.
We see some good fights, and they have their moments. So
I liked the reference to their age, and that first fight we see Johnny in, where the teens are all bullying a kid and then start coming at him. And I like the first kick he does. He's like,
He's like, it's been a while.
I got stretch.
Well, and that's the thing, and it's they're both. I think in real life, Ralph Macchio's like 53 or 54.
Something like that.
And then I'm not sure how. Let's see here. Let's see how Billy Zabka, William Zabka. Let's see how old he is. Oh, he's 54 as well. He looks really. He's
Ralph really good. Macchio is 58 years old.
Is he really?
Wow. I did not know that.
They're both in excellent shape. You wouldn't know it. They both still look young. Yeah, he is. Wow. That's just amazing. And they're both in fantastic shape in this. You can tell we've seen shows and they looked in good shape there. So I think they had to just get a little bit more into shape a little bit, but they're definitely both, not looking like they're 50-something-year-old guys. They're looking like they're late 30s.
Yeah, well,
but they reference the time frame. This isn't set like years ago. This is set now, so it's 35 years later.
23 years old in the first Karate Kid movie. He looks like he's like 15.
Well,
wow.
Yeah, I can tell you this: when I was 22, 23 years old, I looked like I was about 15, 16. So, so you definitely can. If I dyed my hair like Ralph Macchio did, I'd look younger. So, yeah,
yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So it definitely watch it. I'm looking forward to see what you think about it after you see the entire series.
Yeah.
So
the other lesson from this, though, is what a difference a network makes. This show came out on YouTube. Barely anyone talked about it. The people who saw it loved it, but not the vast number of people did not subscribe. And it does present interest. It goes to show, doesn't matter how good of a product you have, how you bring it to the audience matters. Under YouTube, vast majority of people did not see it. Yeah. Under Netflix, everyone is discovering it now, and it is now the #1 show in America. So it's a very interesting lesson in this is an older product. It's a couple years old now, but it's brand new to everyone. Because
it came out in 2018. So when they started filming that, it was probably 2017. So 3 years ago. So think about it. Ralph Macchio was 55. Zabka was 51 even. And now they get ready for season 3. We're Netflix next year. They've not given actual dates yet. I don't even know if they've actually started filming it. I looked it up because I was wondering where they were filming it. They're actually filming in Atlanta.
Oh, I did want to ask.
And they do have some external stuff from California. But.
At any point during the 2 seasons, do we get the old Cobra Kai sensei showing up?
Yes,
because that actor is still around.
Yeah, Kreese shows up.
Oh, cool! Very
at
good.
one
I was
point.
hoping that
Kreese is just brilliant. He's still. I mean, I don't even know how old he is. He's got to be up there too. Let's see how old Marty Cove is. See, it's one of the things we see in the shows. I'm like, he's 74, and when you see him, so when you see him in this series, that the dude is still fit and he can move. Now, there were some scenes I could tell. I was like, okay, he didn't do that. But not bad for 74. But I think it's great that they're
and that 74 is better than me today.
Well, yeah, so. And that's not saying much, Scott. But hey, but definitely check that out. And this kind of leads talking about Cobra Kai and in the way it moved from one network to another. It kind of leads to our next story talking about box office. We actually had box office results again last weekend from movie theaters. There's some actual theaters open besides drive-ins, and we've got there's been 3 new movies out in the last couple of weeks. One was they launched Unhinged,
the Russell Crowe.
Yep, and then New Mutants came out last weekend. That's the new Fox X-Men movie. Definitely mixed reviews on that.
I have not read.
I hear some good. I hear some bad.
I've only read. Very bad is all I've read.
Well, I've seen a lot of bad, but I have seen people say it's not as bad as you think, which of course always leads to people that say, it's not as bad as you think.
The good reviews are it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, well, a lot of it really is. It's like Dark Phoenix was bad. This is better than Dark Phoenix. And again, it's probably not saying much. I kind of want to see it, but at the same time, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And then Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I debated, ended up, I bought it digitally. I was thinking about, I really wanted to see it, and buying it digitally, I spent the $25 or whatever it was on Vudu. I would have spent close to that going to the movies to see it anyways, which I would have done. So do that. In fact, Kevin says him and the kids, they watch Bill and Ted. So that's great.
Kevin, Kevin, question, if you can chime in real quick. Did you see it in a theater, in a drive-in, or on demand? I'm curious how, because Indiana, they can go to the movies, right? I
think they might have movies open there. I know.
We live in Michigan, so we aren't allowed. The governor is spanking us, but supposedly after this holiday here coming up this weekend, supposedly she's going to allow gyms and theaters to open.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin saw it in a theater.
Yeah, so that's cool. I would have gone to a theater if we had one here. I didn't even see any drive-ins showing around here. They're doing New Mutants. We have up at the USA Arena on Beck Road over in Novi, Northville area. They're doing New Mutants. They're doing it again next week, and then they have 2 other screens. I'm actually real tempted next week to go to the drive-in. So
what's interesting though is every review I've read of Bill and Ted has been excellent.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even read a mediocre one. Even though
I've seen a couple.
A real review I saw, like from a movie critic, it gave it 8 out of 10 stars, which I was shocked at.
I got to tell you, with the Bill and Ted, if you haven't seen it yet, well, I'm not going to get too much into this, of course. But I got to tell you this: they revisited, the first 2 movies. My favorite is still going to be Bogus Journey. That was just such a great movie.
That's the second one.
That's the second one. This one, you basically see like, okay, it's like here's the premise of it is. Bill and Ted after Bogus Journey, we see through the credits, they were touring the world and everything else, and had this great tour, but then they never wrote the song that unites the world. And so basically it was, and we learn, quite a bit. They definitely, we find out what happened. They talk about Rufus, and, we see some images of George Carlin as Rufus from back in the day. We get to meet Rufus's daughter, it was interesting to see the dynamics of Bill and Ted and realize that in the first 2 movies they are of one mind. and they are just they are the original like Jay and Silent Bob are hetero life mates. They are the original hetero life mates, and they just happen to have,
which they kind of reference in the commercial. How they go for couples counseling.
Yeah.
And they brought their spouses to couples counseling.
Yeah. They meet up and they're like, oh, it's supposed to be just one or the other. And then they're like, oh, everything is like Bill and Ted, or Bill and I love you princesses, or Ted and I love. So it really shows that they just can't, separate. They have to be together and separate. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm glad I bought it. I'll definitely be watching it again. I'll probably, when it comes out on Blu-ray, I'll probably, they're supposed to come out with 4K releases of the originals. I'll probably eventually buy them on all 3 on Blu-ray.
So you saw it video on demand?
Yes.
When you do video on demand, do you now own it, or was it like a rental that after 24 hours you don't get to see it again?
I own it.
Okay, so you outright own it.
Yeah, I think the rental was like $14.99 or something like that, and then to buy it was like $24.99. I was like, well, I'd just rather spend the extra $10 and own it at that point. It's like the Mulan thing with coming out this weekend on Disney. If you want to see Mulan early, you can pay $30 for the premium access, which I've been noticing Disney Plus talking about premium access for $30, but it's not saying just Mulan. It's not saying that you're only getting Mulan. It's kind of like, I think they're creating a separate,
like a sub channel,
or something like that. And I'm waiting to see what they end up doing with that. But the thing too is they also announced Mulan will be available in December on Disney Plus for everybody. So I will wait for that. Yeah, I really wanted to see it, but since I know it's going to be
on the big screen,
that's what I'm hoping too. There's still chances that could get released in some theaters.
I wonder if they'll do that with these, still release them even though they've done these video on demand releases.
Say that again.
But I'm just curious if some of these movies that they have decided, like Mulan, will they go back and release it in the theater or just not bother? So I'm curious.
I hope they do, because and realistically they could easily do it because it's all done digitally now. So they're not sending out film stock. They're not having it's heavy. It's just that here's a transmission. There it is. You guys can show it now. It's ready to go within a matter of hours.
Yeah, you don't have this vast distribution network like they used to have, where you had to put it on film and transport it and get it out to theaters in these giant canisters and all these things. So so hopefully they do. Now you talked about we had returns. What's interesting is the dollar amounts.
Yes.
What New Mutants did, like 7 million or something?
Yep. Over the weekend, New Mutants did 7 million. Unhinged,
and that's good. Yeah. for this current time period.
Yeah. Unhinged did 2.6 million. Bill and Ted did 1.1 million.
Yeah, which is interesting, because I'm reading tons of, maybe it's just my people.
Yeah.
But I think tons of people talk about Bill and Ted and that they saw it. I've barely seen anything about New Mutants. I've read some bad reviews, but I'm not seeing tons of posts about it like I am Bill and Ted. So I just found that interesting.
Yeah. Hey, Bill and Ted was released in 1,007 theaters here in the United States.
Okay.
It's a lot of screens. And I know majority of that is all the pop-up drive-ins.
Right.
So they still are very limited on, and the money numbers is like, a lot of places are charging like, oh, it's $30 for a car.
Right. Because you could, if you grew up like we did in the era of drive-in movies, you put kids in the trunk of the car, you put 4 kids in the back seat, you get everyone's piled in because you're charged by the car, not by the number of people. So
and
bring
then
everybody.
And then New Mutants was released in 2,412 theaters.
Okay, so they had double.
Yeah, a lot more screens and that. And I've seen that there's a couple of the drive-ins here in Michigan that are doing stuff. I've seen they all had New Mutants, it looked like, but I didn't really see Bill and Ted at all in this area. And I think part of it is just it was more of a it's been promoted so heavily on video demand, they didn't want to deal with that because New Mutants is not available to rent or purchase on demand. You have to go see it at a screen somewhere. Which is, it's just kind of interesting. Disney did that with that. They really pushed it that way. And I think part of it too is just trying to, knowing that it probably sucks, that they wanted people to go pay and see it there.
I think they made the calculated decision that, because as we talked about in previous shows, New Mutants was created by 20th Century Fox and was really the last X-Men movie they made before Disney bought them. Disney shelved that movie originally, and now it's coming out. So I think they just made the calculated thing that, you know what, with everything shut down, we can at least claim it was the #1 movie if we release it now. And, just take
I think that's part of it too.
And it's basically free for them because all the money was spent under the 20th Century Fox name and accounting. So this is just free money for Disney now.
Yeah, they filmed it in 2017. It was supposed to come out in 2018. Originally got shelved prior to the merger because they needed to, they were trying to fix the problem. They went and did Disney put money into it last year to shoot some scenes, fix some editing, stuff like that. And it was supposed to come out, in March, I think, this year. But then with everything, it all got pushed. And they realized that just get it out there now. We can do the drive-in push with it, the few of the indoor theaters and go from there. So, which is smart because I think movie would have done on a normal weekend $70 to $80 million and then would have died 3 weeks later. So them putting out $10 million right now and not spending hardly anything to get it out there is probably the best thing for it. And they'll release it on Disney Plus and then DVD, Blu-ray, whatever down the road here. And people will watch. I watched Dark Phoenix and Dark Phoenix was just as bad as everybody said it was. So I have no faith in New Mutants, though. I like the gritty look of it. So I was actually a little more excited for that until you can tell they're having production problems. I was like, okay, they just can't fix the story. So
right. Now we're talking about the box office. So movies are starting to come out. I've got a screen here of what's labeled as coming out. This is according to Movie Phone. So Tenet recently came out. Well, actually, technically, it comes out tomorrow. The premiere was last weekend. Tom Cruise actually went and saw it in the theater. They were promoting that, how he went and saw it, and he gave it a big thumbs up. The director of Tenet is asking people not to see it on demand, but to see it in a theater. So I'm guessing they're going to release it on demand as well.
Okay.
I don't know what this Ava is. Is that?
I had not heard about that either. So
Julia Roberts?
It looks like Julia Roberts. It looks like it's probably she looks like probably like a hit woman or something.
Yeah. Let's see, Alive. I don't know what that is. Oh, it looks like a zombie movie. It looks like zombies down in the corner. Okay. It's interesting. Like a lot of these I haven't even heard of. Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs. So I don't know. Maybe that's Dorothy goes to.
Well, it's probably tied into the original Snow White and Red Rose fable. So they just did a reworking of that, and they look like they're ogres, not dwarves. So,
and we got Greenland here. So looks like I'm guessing a disaster film. Looks like I'll like it. Actually, I just started watching. The series. God, this is King Leonidas. What's his name? Gerard Butler. Butler. I love his movies. I love him. You know how he does that Olympus Has Fallen series?
Yes, I like that series.
I've never seen them, so I just started watching Olympus Is Falling, and I'm going to watch all 3 of those movies now. But I'm really enjoying it so far. I really like him. I would love to see him somehow do 300 again. Mm-hmm. I want King Leonidas back. I know he died, but come on, we could resurrect him, can't we?
Yeah. Well, I was looking. I pulled up that Ava. It's about an assassin. That's Jessica Chastain. Yeah, I couldn't really see that. And
okay.
I noticed that was Colin Farrell up top. John Malkovich is in it. Joan Chen, Common. So it's got a decent cast, and it's about she's an assassin.
Okay.
And she becomes marked for death. So it's a similar story we've seen a lot of ways, but a different take on it.
Yep.
Scheduled to come out on the 25th of September. So
yeah. Let's see. Trying to see what other things come up here. These are all
Boss Baby.
Boss Baby. There we go. Boss Baby is back. And what's this? Tom of Your Life. Is that Ewan McGregor? Who is that? I can't. If I click on it, let's see. I don't know who those actors are. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably an independent film. Yeah, it looks like very independent.
Yeah,
I recognize nobody, and it's it's about a baby who is born, who inexplicably grows, evolves, and ages 4 years an hour. So it's a little bit of the like the Robin Williams film Jack.
Okay.
A strung out nurse smuggles him out of the hospital to show him what life is all about before the authorities in time catches up to them.
Strung out nurse.
Yeah.
Let's see, Murder Trip. A lot of these I've never heard of. The Owners, Maisie Williams, and looks like a horror type movie.
Yeah.
Alive. I don't know what any of these are. Measure for Measure. There's what's his name, Red Skull, or Lord of the Rings. There, the King. Or V for Vendetta. What's his name? Hugo Weaving.
Yep.
I have no. It's like my whole memory of Hollywood is gone. I don't remember.
It's slowly wiping out of our brains and that. So.
Robin's Wish. Interesting.
That's probably a documentary.
Yes. But nothing like. None of these are like.
These look like a lot of the independent films that people have been just kind of sitting on, so they probably were able to get distribution out of it because of the fact that there is nothing. Not enough they're going to be able to distribute over the next several months until they get back into full production.
Right.
So
yeah, a lot of probably lower production cost movies are getting released here, which will be good for them because they have a chance to make some good money with no big competition sucking all the money out. Yeah. But you're going to have pent up demand of people who want to go to the theaters,
Yeah, some of those are TV shows. Like there's The Boys that launches here pretty soon.
Oh, that says September 4th. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Friday. Yep.
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
Yep. I probably won't be able to see any before I get down to Indiana on Friday next. I'll be working on in the morning early enough to where I won't watch an episode, but I'm looking forward to seeing that again. And I love the first season, so it should be fun. And I like to watch it all together.
Why is it labeled Butcher? Are they having a sub-series? What is this? Butcher. Wait a minute.
Oh, that's a short film. I bet you they did
it's a 10-minute film.
Yeah, they probably did like a 10-minute interlude film. They're going to release that'll tie into the second season. So
okay, so there's like a little short story. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So nothing that's like oh, that's gonna kill it, but definitely some interesting looking things. So some things might get seen that might normally get overlooked. Cargo looks like a sci-fi film.
Yeah. I wonder how many of these were supposed to be launched on like some of the streaming services, and they're now actually going to try to release them in the theaters. So,
yeah, interesting.
Of course, that one's at Hyundai, so a lot of those are foreign films too. So there's a whole mix of those that are probably trying to bring over here just to have something. I mean, it's like TV networks. They announced Star Trek Discovery season 1 will air on CBS this fall because they needed something to fill programming hours. They just don't have enough stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because they had that big lag in production there. So there's going to be this bubble, this gap of the shows that were in production that should be coming out now. Well, they're not made yet. So
yeah, and they are back filming in Canada. I don't know if you saw that. Supernatural, I've seen pictures of them saying they're out there filming the last few episodes they need for Supernatural because they had to cut production short. And they're going to start airing those, I think, in October, November. We should get, or maybe even a little bit sooner, but we should get the finale done soon.
Mandalorian in October too, I think. Season 2.
And that was filmed and it was completely filmed prior to COVID. And because of all the digital stuff they use in terms of editing, they were able to work on that.
My understanding is they've been filming season 3 now.
I can see that, yeah. And if you watch the show we all watched on, you and I watched on Disney Plus about how they make it. They got, everything's set up. It's all in these great, LED screen sound stages that they can actually work everything around and not worry about being out.
Doing it pretty much creating like an isolation bubble where everybody working on it comes in and then they just you don't go outside. You all stay in the confines of the production area, and you stay for the whole shoot. No one, no one comes, no one goes, and that way.
That's what Tyler Perry did that. And Tyler Perry's got that going on in Atlanta right now. I saw a thing with him last weekend, and they brought everybody in. They set up housing for everybody. Everybody's there. He's gotten them back to work. We know it's tough sometimes to be away from the family they want to be with, but they're all back working, so they're actually earning, so they can get, and they know they'll get back to normal. But I think he said he's got like 19 productions going on at his studio right now, and all those people are like right there. Some movies, probably some TV shows. So it's, these guys. So he really set up. He jumped at figuring out the model right away, and realized that okay, once we can start doing once Georgia opened back up, and they brought everybody in. I think they brought everybody in and did like a 14-day quarantine just to make sure, and then they went to work. And that's what they're doing up in Canada. Canada, of course, is travel to Canada, we're restricted to go, but they're allowing, I think, the actors to go up there, but then they have to quarantine. London opened up shooting because they started shooting the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible and a couple other movies, the Batman, things like that. But they allowed them to kind of start right away. But again, they're sequestered. They're not running around, and mingling with the people. They're keeping everybody in-house and tight. So as we finish up this run of COVID this year. So
yeah.
But hopefully here in Michigan, we'll be seeing some stuff. We got an announcement today at 2:30. Our glorious, fearless leader will take us on to the next step. And we need to get it going. I'm not thinking just movie theaters. There's so many like bowling alleys. They should be able to. We bowled Kevin and Brandy, Mom and I bowled out in Vegas, and they did every other lane. So you had the social distancing. And it was
like
just
movie theaters. It's ridiculous. We're all sitting facing one direction. People aren't facing each other. There's no talking. The way you book seats digitally, they can put an empty seat between a group, and there's no reason for it to be shut. It's absolutely ridiculous. The gyms, thankfully, those are going to be opened up soon. Mm-hmm. The data's coming out of Ohio. They've been tracking the gyms being open. COVID's not spreading at the gyms. No. They had out of 320,000 people, 8 people. Yep. It's statistically 0.
Yeah, it's 0.0028 or something like that is what I saw.
It was like within the margin of error or something like that. So it's not happening. We're open these places up.
Yes. Well, that's what we need, and we need to get it going, and not just and Michigan's one of the last ones. There's a couple other states, but get them all this stuff open again. They all know what to do. It's just like restaurants. I've been to restaurants several times. It's been great. Yeah, you wear your mask in, you sit down, you take your mask off, you eat, you enjoy the time with your friends or whatever, family, and then you put your mask on and leave. And people are really good about that. And the places have never been cleaner. So I'm not catching anything there because they cleaned everything so well. It's like it's killed everything. So
until next year. Then we're gonna have the super virus bug, super bacteria bug that nothing kills because we over sanitized everything this year. So get ready to shut down 2021 over bacteria that doesn't die.
Right. Oh, we're coming into time here. Is there anything we forgot to cover, or I think we covered everything?
I think we got our checklist all covered. I'm excited to be going to Indiana. Keep an eye out. Follow us on Bardstone Publishing. Follow our individual pages. I'm at The Art of Scott on Facebook. What's your page, Kevin? Brett?
BP Creations, and then there's the art. Was it Kevin Miner Art or Kevin or the art? Look for Kevin Miner. MEINERT. Kevin E. Miner.
But we've got a lot of exciting projects coming. We're very excited to bring them to you, and it's going to be a good 2021 for us.
I think so. I'm excited for that. So, and definitely check out the stuff we talked about that we liked, and stuff we didn't like. Don't check it out because it doesn't work right out. So, but hey, join us next week. We're gonna have another fun show next week, talking about some more fun stuff and going from there. So until next time, I have to bring up the video. Where's the video? There it is. Bye. Come on. There we go. Okay.